Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast hosted by Closers.io, where we dive deep into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for both themselves and their companies. I'm your host, Elliott Boll, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful businesses, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're excited to have Arrey Obenson, the CEO of Transformunity, joining us. Arrey will be sharing more about his founding story and giving us a glimpse into his future plans of growth. Right, let's jump in, Arrey. Welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure for me to join you today.
No problem. Okay, well, the way I play is absolutely directly. So when we're thinking about Transformunity, can you tell us a little bit about the problem that you're solving and why it's meaningful to you?
Well, the name Transformunity is born out of two words. The first being transform, and the second being opportunity. It's a combination of transformation and opportunity. And it's really an organization that is based on a simple premise and this is captured in a book that I've written called Bridging the Opportunity Gap. And it's a simple premise that individuals, organizations, or even communities that focus on their challenges become defined by their challenges, while those that focus on their opportunities become defined by their opportunities. Transformunity is really intended to harness the power of opportunities to help organizations attain their greatest potential. That's what we address, is working with small, medium, and large-sized companies to stretch their imagination, to look beyond the obvious challenges that they face on a daily basis to what the opportunity will look like if they really build the kind of organization that they dream of. And that's what we are thriving we're trying to transform the world to become a world where we really focus on our opportunities because we're too often held back by our challenges.
That is very succinctly put. So we're just flipping the script on challenge and looking at the potential that's there.
Yeah.
When you were talking just at the end, you made me think what there must have been a story here behind why you created this business. Can you tell us? You probably have to condense it a little bit, but give us the story
Yeah.
behind why you founded this business.
Well, for 17 years, I traveled the world visiting, nearly 100 countries and working and meeting young entrepreneurs around the world. And I realized that there was so much potential in our imagination. And yet there was also too many obstacles that we created for ourselves. And so I wanted to help people think differently. The businesses that have thrived in the world, the biggest companies in the world, the longest lasting companies in the world, are companies that do have challenges yet, but have really focused on their opportunities. There's a simple case that I use. If you look at Sears, which was the first company in the United States that started being able to sell using catalogs over 100 years ago. Sears is out of business and Amazon is thriving. It is the same idea. When Sears focused 2 decades of its time on its challenges, trying to figure out why its sales were going down, whilst Amazon was leveraging the same business model, but taking the opportunity of technology to offer the same services that CS was, and so we see. And so my goal was really to help businesses really think differently, because people will look at challenges because yes, that keeps people at work, it keeps the jobs going, but really that's the status quo, right? Growth is tomorrow, right? Growth is where opportunity lies. And so if you are stuck trying to figure out today, then you may not get to tomorrow. And that's really why I started this this movement, because I call it really has to be a movement because it's the way of thinking and the way that you approach problem solving. Is find the silver lining behind every challenge and throw all of your efforts into that silver lining and see the dark clouds dissipate and you achieve your potentials.
Uh, Brilliant and brilliant example. I love, well, one thing stood out to me. You said movement, but I liked how you took it from it could be one person and that belief or that focus or mindset, but you also talked about it in collectives, whether it's communities or businesses. And so it's quite a powerful notion. Now, I want to dive into your experience. So you've got quite a unique experience having seen and met and spoken with so many entrepreneurs across the world. So, what is the biggest misconception people have about entrepreneurship? I'm sure there are many, but what is the one that you'd like to address?
Yes, this is quite an interesting conversation because people think about entrepreneurs from the perspective of the amount of money that they have. But I think that an entrepreneur is somebody with a mindset, as somebody who identifies challenges and figures out a solution. And by the way, leverages that solution to earn a living, right? So that's an entrepreneur, which is different from a business owner, which is different from somebody who sells products, right? An entrepreneur is somebody that is solving a problem. And the biggest or the most sustained businesses in the world are those that are addressing a need. There must be a need for you to provide a solution. And that's where entrepreneurs come in. And I hear very often there's a lot of investment that is made into take this entrepreneurship course or do this, the best entrepreneurs in the world are not people who went to school to become entrepreneurs. The best entrepreneurs in the world are the people with a mindset, with a can-do attitude, with a spirit of solving problems. They may not be the wealthiest people, but they will definitely be the people that are transforming the world and making it better for everyone every day.
That is, thank you for, again, you've underlined, I think, the thread because I speak for us all. There's so much media and content and almost a culture around entrepreneurship, and it's almost attached to that idea of getting rich. But you're decoupling that and saying, actually, an entrepreneur's it's almost a philosophy or a way of contributing back to the world by addressing problems, and so I really like that. Now, turning this around, looking forwards for Transformunity, what are your key priorities for this year?
Well, our priorities for this year is really to get into as many boardrooms as we can and help. We look at things in really four pillars that we it's helping organizations develop the kind of strategy that will allow them attain their greatest potential. Two is helping them develop the kind of culture, this sense of movement building that will allow them be able to attain those lofty goals that they have in their strategies. We're also working to become advocates of this mindset that helps people not just be drama driven, but driven by the headlines and the things that are wrong, but really focused on what is possible and what we can do with the human capacity that we have. And so our goal this year is one, I'm working on a second book that I want to introduce that's going to encapsulate some of this. But two, we really want to grow our business base outside the United States and look at different parts of the world, particularly Africa, where we can share a lot of, because we see the biggest opportunity that the world has is Africa in terms of it's the only growing continent at the time, fastest growing continent, and a continent that is very young. But of course, The Middle East as well seems very interesting for us, and that those are areas in which we want to grow our business into this year. Um, those are the big things that we want to accomplish here. Is really international growth and expansion, and become a lot more known around the world for the philosophies that we have. And so, an opportunity like this to have this kind of conversation and share with people around the world is very welcome.
Epic, and we're grateful to have you. It sounds like you've got a busy 12 months ahead of spreading the movement. Um, this conversation has flown by. Before we wrap up, beyond what you've shared today, what is the one best piece of advice that you would have? Let's say you're speaking to a founder, they're listening to this. What would you share with them directly?
Well, I would say that, you know, every minute, every hour, every day is part of the building block of the outcomes that you want. And no decision is taken lightly. No mistake is forgotten. Every failure serves as a learning process. And instead of a setback, should actually be a springboard to the kind of outcome that you want. Never lose an opportunity to share the vision that you have, because you never know when that's the opportunity that will propel you to achieve your goals.
Wow. Epic. Now, what a way to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. I want to thank Arrey for sharing his incredible journey and insights with us today. To our listeners, if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen. You can find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.